For the first time in 41 years, the San Francisco 49ers have gone into Cleveland and come out with a victory. Let's break it all down next. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Standard Instant Reaction Podcast. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. That is Levin Black. Levin, the 49ers have slayed the dragon, the two-headed dragon. They have gone into Cleveland and won, which they hadn't done since 1981. And Kyle Shanahan took down Jim Schwartz.
I was all excited until you said 1981 because I was like, wait, he said 41 years, 1981.
Yeah, we're old.
You ruined it. No, it's a taking care of business type of win. This is the type of game that, previous years, I think the Niners would kind of look past this game. They'd be looking at that bye week. That's the difference I feel like with this team is they're taking care of business. They're winning when it's close late. Not that this game is an example of that, but early in the season, they won games that were close to the previous season. Those were the games they were losing. This season, I think, is all about changing their narrative, changing the identity of this team.
And not only did the 49ers go into Cleveland and win, but I don't know if Matthew Stafford had too much turkey or what, but the Panthers beat the Rams. So now the Rams are 9-3. The Niners are 9-4. Seattle is 8-3. They're going to play, obviously. But this is like a double whammy for the 49ers because I don't know what the hell the Rams are doing. They kept giving up touchdowns on fourth down.
That's the weird thing. I mean, the number one seed, I don't think it's likely, but it's still in play. Like the Niners, right now, as it sits, they have the ability to control their own destiny against every team except the Rams, and the Rams only have to lose one game. Because if the Rams lose one game, the Niners are going to have the tiebreak, assuming in the scenario that they're in the running for the number one. That means they have to beat Seattle, and they have to beat Chicago. So they beat Chicago, they beat Seattle, and they win one of the other games. Then they are very much, I think, likely to have the number one seed. They do that, they would be 12-5. The Bears will have fallen to 4 losses and would be losing the tiebreak. The Rams, their loss isn't in division, then at best they would be able to tie the 49ers in division record, and the Niners will win the NFC, the second tiebreak. So the Niners are very much, I think, in play for the number one seed, despite being third in their division right now.
Sorry, I want to correct myself. 84 was the last time the 49ers won in Cleveland, not 81. So it hasn't been over 40 years, so I apologize.
It has. Hello. That's 41 years.
Is it? Isn't 81?
We're 40 and born in 85, bud.
Yeah, my bad. All right, so I was right, then I was wrong, and now I'm right again. All right, let's get to a couple super chats here. Gabe Garoni, YouTube channel member. Shout out to all our YouTube channel members. Says defense, special teams, and Purdy's legs in that order. These ugly wins are beautiful. That is exactly right, Gabe. The defense in this game had, what do they have? 3 sacks, I believe. They had a stop on fourth down early in the game. They should have generated 2 more points with a safety. How that did not end up being a safety, I'll never know. They didn't get a turnover they did actually. There was a special teams fumble, but technically that's special teams. But they didn't have like an interception on Shedeur Sanders. But defense,
they also had that fumble on fourth down that they ended up ruling a fumble. Was it a fumble?
Yeah, it didn't matter though because it was fourth.
Right, but it's still a turnover.
I don't think he was getting it even if he didn't fumble it. To me, it looked like the Niners had it stopped up. But the 49ers defense in this game, the special teams, they did exactly what you need to do in adverse weather conditions against a great defense.
This is the game. Like, I think this was the blueprint for winning this game. The blueprint was play good defense against a rookie quarterback and a bad offense. Make a difference on special teams one way or the other. They obviously made a massive difference because they had the long return and a fumble recovery on a coverage unit. And mistake-free offense. Like, it was not a game with the way the weather was and the level of defense they were playing that you were going to go out and say, oh, the goal should be the offense dominates and just constantly moves the ball. No, it was they got to capitalize on some opportunities, but don't expect them to dominate the game. The game has to be mistake free on offense. Can't turn the ball over. You can't be doing stupid penalties that end drives, and you got to avoid the sacks. And that was the three things they did on offense. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't have stupid penalties, and Purdy eliminated a lot of the would-be sacks.
I think that Brock Purdy, number one, the game plan I thought was perfect. Like Trent Williams, I think they said at one point allowed 8 pressures, but the game plan was perfect. Myles Garrett influenced every single play call of this game. It was unbelievable how good that guy is. But the Niners handled it perfectly. They ran the ball. They rolled away from him. They didn't just have Brock sit back in that pocket. I thought Brock used his legs, like you said, a lot. And he had more throwaways in this game than I think I've ever seen it in his entire career to this point. It was a very smart offensive performance by Brock and by Kyle Shanahan today.
Can we just address the elephant in the room? This is the exact type of game that Purdy can win and Mac can't. Those would be sacks. This would have been a 5+ sack game for Cleveland if Mac was starting. And it's not any of it. It is his fault. Like, people want to say the offensive line played great. I think they did okay, but they looked a heck of a lot better than reality because Brock got out of 4 would-be sacks. There were 4 times that I think he should have been sacked, but Brock's elusiveness caused it not to be a sack. Those would have been sacks with Mac. They would have been drive killers. I think this is a game that would have been like 13-10, or it would have been just a who gets lucky with a field goal at the end of the game or something type of game with Mac, because both offenses would have been trash.
And another key part of this game, especially when you're playing a great defense, the Niners got down to the red zone, and most of the time they stuck it in the end zone. Now, they went 3 for 5 if you look at the numbers, but don't forget, one of those was right before the half and they ran out of time. I actually think the refs kind of screwed them with the time. They should have had a little more time to maybe run one more play.
Because at the very least, when Kittle got up, he was immediately calling timeout, and there was 7 seconds on the clock.
Yeah,
he was signaling. So
they called it at 4. I think they didn't stop it till there was 4 seconds left. So, but whatever, like, they didn't score a touchdown there. And then at the end of the game, they added a chip shot field goal just to make it a 3-score game. But the 49ers in the red zone, when they got their chances, whether it was when they drove down the field or because of special teams play, they stuck it in the damn end zone. And you brought it up, I think last week, and they brought it up on the broadcast today as well. I think there's something like they were 18 of their last 22 going into the game, cashing touchdowns in the red zone. And that
so they're 21 for 26 now. But one of those, as you mentioned, threw away because they, on first down, had to take a field goal because there were 4 seconds left.
Yeah.
So it's 21 of their last 25. They have scored a touchdown. That's why the offense feels like it's suddenly a really good offense. It's because they are finishing drives that they've always had. They've always had these scoring drives where they're getting down to the opponent's red zone, but they were stalling out the last 2.5 years consistently. Now they're not. They're scoring those. They scored 26 points on the road with horrible weather against a great defense that Kyle Shanahan had been averaging 15.7 points per game against Jim Schwartz defenses. So 26 points. I know the defense was a big part of why they got to 26 points, but I feel like this was a result that it's not the best possible result on offense, but it's one that if you said, the offense will do this, they'll have this many scoring drives, you would have taken that at the start of the game.
Absolutely. And look, it wasn't always pretty. The field goal at the end of halftime, Matt Gay doinked through the upright. Like, whatever, man. It still counts. All it's got to do is go through. 4King Crazy says D was awesome tonight. Special mention for the special teams, too. I mean, look, the Browns did Browns things, right? That wind was up to 40 miles an hour at times. It made catching punts really difficult. The Browns bailed the Niners out on a kickoff that Gay kicked out of bounds, but the guy from Cleveland literally saved the ball from going out of bounds and ended up catching it at the 7-yard line, which they moved back to the 5-yard line instead of letting the ball go out of bounds and giving Cleveland the ball at the 40. Every mistake the Browns made, the 49ers took advantage of, and that's exactly how you beat bad teams.
Well, that's the difference of the game. The Browns made the mistakes in a game that you couldn't afford to make mistakes in. The Niners avoided those mistakes. Like, neither team was dominant in this game. You could argue the 49ers defense was dominant, but really, like, the Browns were capable of moving the ball against the 49ers. Like, if it wasn't for the wind, I think that long deep throw towards the end of the game where the guy was open and Mustafa was able to get there because the wind just killed it and made it a duck of a throw. That's probably a touchdown without the wind. Like, I think the defense played as good as you could have possibly hoped for in this game. Don't get me wrong, but I also don't think that they're the sole reason for winning. This was not a defense won it for you game.
The Browns had no hope of passing the ball. First of all, I want to read this super chat. 99 Leary says, same old sorry ass Rams, which is, that's the only way you could read that if you get that super chat. The Browns had no faith in Shedeur Sanders to throw the ball at all. Everything that they ran in the passing game was a short pass or a screen pass. Everything. And Trent Green, they are gassing up Shedeur Sanders. Oh, his decision-making is so great. It's a screen pass. There's no decision. The Browns, I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is good or not. He's made 2 starts. I'm not making any declarations on him. But I can say Kevin Stefanski had no faith in him. They were more scared of him than Niner fans were of Brock Purdy throwing the ball.
I mean, as a Niners fan, I was happy with their game plan. That's what I wanted. As a football and NFL fan, I was a little disappointed in terms of this is Stefanski coaching to try to save his job rather than Stefanski coaching for what's best for the team. Stefanski should be fired. This is the type of game. Let him throw to figure out what the hell you have. Why are you running this vanilla, scared to death, playing to lose offense? You should be opening it up, and if you end up having 5 interceptions, so be it. You got your answer. Like, this is a game that they should have let Sanders just go for it. Because if he could have a good game with this weather and the wind they popped up the graphic right before the game. The wind was 27 to 51 miles per hour. If Sanders could look good in this game, then you go, okay, maybe we have something. We really need to take all of the safety things off to see what he has to finish the season. And instead, you ran an offense that gives you really no answer. Sanders had, I think, a pretty good game. I think he did about as much as you could in this game. It's just he was limited by the play calling that you really didn't get to see. Can he be an NFL quarterback or not?
Here's how you know not only did the Browns have no faith in Shedeur, the Niners had no faith in Shedeur because it was a 7-0 game. It was 3rd down. The Niners got off the field. It was 3rd and 10. They threw a short pass to Jerry Jeudy for 3 yards. The Browns were off the field, and Kyle accepts a penalty that makes it 3rd and 15. So he puts the offense back on the field again, which is such a F you. We don't think you're doing anything against our defense. And they get a sack from Cleveland Farrell. They lose 13 yards and they have to punt anyway. That was such a bleep you decision by Kyle Shanahan. He was like, you're not. He would never do that. I would never see Kyle Shanahan let the team get back on the field when they had stopped them and the possession was over. But he knew. He knew the Browns did not have any faith in Shedeur. And again, I don't know if he's going to be any good or not, but it was hilarious to watch. And the way they kept trying to gas him up at the end of the game. Trent Green, oh, I've been very impressed with Shedeur Sanders. He's getting the ball out quickly. It's a screen. All his passes are screens. Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, I'll say this about Sanders. He looked like an NFL quarterback. Whether that's a starting quarterback or a backup quarterback, I don't know because he didn't get a chance. But he looked competent enough and had enough pocket awareness. Now, there were a couple sacks that I think were clear rookies not realizing, hey, these defensive linemen can freaking catch me from behind. You know what I mean? There were a couple times where he's looking to throw deep and just got caught from behind, and I don't think he expected to be caught by Cleveland Farrell on one of them. But this was a game where I was like, I saw Sanders and I go, yeah, you can see this guy should have been drafted sooner. I think the NFL showed its typical BS when he wasn't. But, I mean, it's not a Cleveland show. This is a 49ers show. But I thought Sanders looked like an NFL quarterback in one shape or another.
I don't want to get into a Shedeur debate. We don't have to see him anymore. The Big 25 says, despite Brown's record, this was a very impressive due to facing the number 2 defense. Brown's D-line is very good. Schwartz is a good defensive coordinator. Absolutely. And look, we acknowledge the defense and the special teams set up the 49ers. At one point, the Niners' average starting field position was their own 41-yard line. All that is true. And also, the 49ers got touchdowns most of the time when they needed to. Credit all around. Everybody gets a piece of credit today. Con JKJ, YouTube channel member, thank you, says, can we shout out the O-line? They have improved immensely. I thought the Browns were getting some pretty consistent pressure, but again, it was good enough to execute the game plan. The way that Kyle Shanahan wanted it executed today, the offensive line was good enough. Survive and advance.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. The O-line has been good enough in recent weeks. Earlier in the season, they were not good enough. So they've improved, but I would not be, sitting here saying like this was not a great O-line game. They were pressured on more than 50% of their dropbacks, and they averaged less than 3 yards a carry. It was against a phenomenal defensive line. Don't get me wrong. So you shouldn't have expected greatness, but I mean, they also did pretty much what you expected. They gave up a ton of pressures, and it was up to the quarterback to not allow that to be a sack.
And Brock did a damn good job of that today. Mr. G49er says, Statsy beat me to it. Purdy's throwaways brought tears to my eyes. Yes. Jeff Deeney has the post. Brock had only 7 throwaways all season. He had 6 throwaways today, at least at the time of this tweet. I'm not sure if he waited till the end of the game to put that out or not. But the point is, clearly, Brock was under the instructions, right? Don't screw this up. Don't force it. Don't turn it over. And he had all those throwaways. They lived to play another down. They still put up 26 points. Like, maybe this will plant the seed in Brock's head, Levin. Like, hey, we still can accomplish all the things I want to accomplish, even if I do have to just waste some throws and live to play another down.
Yeah, well, you're not always facing the Browns offense either, but you take away those throwaways, he was 16 of 23, and like we said, he avoided a lot of big negative sacks with his legs. So I think this is one of those games, you look at the box score, you go, Purdy was good, not great, but watching the game, you go, no, Purdy had a really good game. Like that, borderline great. Like you're playing in crazy wind, and you're playing against constant pressure, and he didn't have a mistake. He had 2 touchdowns overall, and he had a lot of plays that you could call them 10-yard gains that don't show up in the box score because he turned a 10-yard loss of a sack into an incompletion.
There are games where you don't play as good as your box score and your numbers say, and there are games where you play better. This was a better game than Brock Purdy's box score. I completely agree with that. He was just, you said 16 of 29, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, only sacked once in the game. Very nicely done, Brock Purdy. Joser0159 says, Kyle and Jim Schwartz had a long convo after the game, possible defensive coordinator next year. I'll say this, if you were Jim Schwartz, where would you rather coordinate a defense? In Cleveland or in San Francisco, even though you'd be missing Myles Garrett?
Well, I'm pretty sure Stefanski's probably going to be let go at the end of the year. I would say that's more likely than not at this point.
Which means
that means Schwartz is a free agent. So if Saleh does get a head coaching gig, which, oh, by the way, if the Cleveland job does open, Saleh just showed them what he could be. Although I think in that scenario, Saleh would probably say no thanks.
I would not want to go to Cleveland.
Exactly. But if they are looking for a defensive coordinator, Schwartz, can you imagine those meetings where the two of them get to like help each other game plan and counter each other? Like they will improve each other just by being in those meetings together. And, Kyle Shanahan saying, we're going to be doing this on offense, and Schwartz saying, yeah, the defense could be looking to do these things again. You know what I mean? Like Schwartz knows Kyle Shanahan as well as anybody in terms of how to stop him. So he's going to help Kyle Shanahan, I think, unlock an even higher tier to his play calling.
It would be interesting if it happened, but we got a long way to go before there. We're going to have playoffs to go before they're left.
For sure. I mean, at this point, playoffs all about guaranteed because 10 wins with the way things have broke with Detroit. Detroit is looking to try to get to 10 wins. well, if they get to 10 wins and the Niners are 10 wins, the Niners have the tiebreaker against the Lions. The Niners would be in. So the Niners are all but guaranteed playoffs at this point. I would say it's like 99% now.
It is up there. And now you go into the bye week coming off a win. You go into a bye week where you can finally get a little damn rest. And we talked about it after the Rams loss. What do the 49ers have to do in these next 3 games before the bye week? We said they had to win at least 2. Well, they went win, win, win. And you go into the bye with 9 on the season, and you're facing the Tennessee Titans, the worst team in the league after the bye. You have put yourself in a position, as Bay Marin says, happy victory weekend, happy victory Monday, happy victory bye week.
Yeah, and so you essentially look at, okay, if the Niners are 10-4 2 weeks from now, where could they be? Well, the Rams play at Arizona, and then they play the Lions. So that Lions-Rams game, okay, if the Lions win, now the Niners are at 10-4, at worst tied for the division lead. If the Rams win, all right, the Niners playoffs are a complete lock because now the Lions are completely eliminated from being able to get to the 49ers. So, like, it's kind of like a win-win game. There's no downside to that game for the 49ers, but yeah, that's what the Niners are looking at. They're looking at, you can't look past Tennessee, but if they lose to Tennessee, that's a massive upset.
Yeah.
So they're looking at 2 weeks now being 10-4 and getting to just see, all right, what shakes out with everybody else. The Bears have to play Green Bay next week. Who wins that game, right? Because the loser of it will fall behind the 49ers. Whether it's Green Bay or the Bears, both of them would fall behind the 49ers because of either record or, in the Bears situation, a tiebreaker.
Yep.
So the Niners are guaranteed to move up in playoff position after the bye week. Like, while on their bye, they will improve their playoff position.
Yeah, that's the best possible scenario. We got a lot of super chats to get to. I will get to all of them. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much. There's over 1,400 people watching right now. That is awesome. If this is your first time checking us out, we are live after every Niners game here on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. We're live every single weekday. We have different hosts, different shows. Please check us out. Like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. If you want to give a game ball, leave it in the comment below. We'll get to game balls a little bit later in the show, but drop your comment there who you think deserves the most credit for today's win. At Batman29 says defense, special teams, and red zone offense came through today. I mean, everybody had their moments, right? All 3 phases of this game had their moments. And the special teams has gone from being a huge liability to not just not screwing it up, as Kyle Shanahan has famously said. They are the reason the 49ers are winning games. They are becoming an asset in a major way this year.
And Sky Moore, I don't know what's changed, but like the last 5 weeks, he's arguably been the best returner in the league. He's had a long punt returner now. He had the long kickoff return where he almost got the touchdown. Like, he is looking like somebody that, okay, returning has been a problem for a long time with the 49ers. That's a guy we want to bring back now. Like, I feel like Sky Moore at this point has kind of earned wanting to come back. Like, you want to bring him back.
Weren't we due to have a good returner at some point? I mean, we have not had a good returner since Ted Ginn in 2011. Like, I would think one time in 13 years we would get somebody, and you're right. Sky Moore has been doing the damn thing. And Brian Robinson, too. Shout out to him. He's had some good kick returns as well. At Speaker 1984 says, is it too much to ask for Flores to show Darnold some ghosts as the Seahawks play the Vikings? Here's the thing. That's where we are. Because of this win and because of the bye week, we're in a position to get greedy now. Now we want chaos. I'm not rooting for anybody to get hurt because we never do that, but I want chaos around the league. The Rams losing to Carolina, chaos. Beautiful. More of that, please.
Yeah, it's about to be December. We want our Christmas presents early.
Nice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Speaker 1984, Brock Purdy said, F you, Joe Boo. I do it myself on the touchdown run. First of all, fantastic Major League reference by you, Speaker. Appreciate that. I loved that play call, Levin. Yeah. Niners get the ball. They're just running the ball, pounding it in. And I love the play call, the read option with Purdy, because it took the sort of, I don't want to say game script, but the feeling of the game, right? The fact that everybody felt like this was just going to be a rock fight. We're just going to run and pound it in. And it took advantage of that. Purdy keeps the ball, runs it into the end zone. Cleveland had no idea he had the ball. I had no idea he had the ball, and they get the touchdown, a massive touchdown in the game. I love that they're using Brock Purdy's mobility in the red zone because I think it can be an asset that they haven't really tapped into too much to this point. They have not called an RPO like that all season long. I loved that play call from Kyle.
Yeah, that's the BD Brock, if you know my reference. But yeah, you can tell like Cleveland came in and they were crashing on every single run when it's close to the goal line because they're giving it to Christian McCaffrey. You had two different defenders that completely ignored Brock Purdy on that play and went sprinting to the inside to try to get to Christian McCaffrey. That was one that was set up by probably Brock's injury, honestly, because they haven't run it because Mac Jones has been the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they've been handing the ball to Christian McCaffrey and trying to get in. And you saw later on, they tried to score a different way too. They tried to score like they did last week. Instead of just running up the gut with Christian McCaffrey like they were doing earlier in the year, they ran that pitch play to Christian McCaffrey to try to get him the edge. Yeah, because teams are just crashing the inside when they're inside the 5.
Good. That's what you should be able to call that up. By the way, speaking of things to call up, I saw this tweet earlier in the week and I saved it because I was like, this is a ridiculous tweet. Sam Block, Niners passed on Shedeur at 11. Niners passed on Shedeur at 43, passed at 75, at 100, at 113, at 138. He knows. How'd he do today, Sam? He knows. He knows he can't throw past 10 yards. That's what he knows. I mean, this was such a ridiculous tweet. Like, as if Shedeur Sanders is just sitting there waiting to, like, light up the league. Give me a break. I'm sorry. I know we're talking about the 49ers, but I had to point that out because it's stuck in my craw.
Yeah, the response to that tweet should be the Game of Thrones meme. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
808-904 says, Brock has to play like this all the time. Just take what the defense gives you, and Kyle was smart to take the ball because who knows what the weather was going to be in the second half. Yes, and you and I have talked about that. We think he should take the ball first anyway because we think this offense needs to carry the team. But especially today, I think the weather was part of it where he was like, we don't know if it's going to be raining. We don't know if it's going to be snowing or what. And luckily, it was just windy. We didn't really see rain and snow because I think it was Claire Kittle posted something on Instagram yesterday. And it was like a whiteout. Like you couldn't see anything. You could barely see the stadium. But today it was just windy. No rain, no snow.
Yeah, I mean, they had crazy snow. It's kind of spotty, but like yesterday, Wisconsin, Milwaukee area got almost a foot of snow. Indianapolis got like 6 inches of snow. Parts of Michigan, if you watched the Ohio State Michigan game last night, it was a blizzard for half the game. Areas in like eastern PA, just across the border from Ohio, got almost 2 feet of snow. Wow. Getting closer to like Buffalo. Yeah, I got a coworker who's from like upstate PA, just across the border from New York, south of Buffalo, and they got 2 feet there. Like this could have been that. They got kind of lucky it wasn't, because that meant, guess what? Yeah, it was cold weather, but it wasn't wet conditions. If it was wet conditions, what does Brock look like?
I don't know, but I'm grateful that we live in a world where I don't have to know. So that was good. Just Kyle Shanahan has begun speaking from the podium. Apparently, Kyle Juszczyk does not have broken ribs, negative for broken ribs. We saw him go to the locker room. He'll have an extra week to heal up, which is nice. Now, sometimes the not broken is, if he's got some strain
cartilage
there or cartilage or something, that could be very, very painful. He's obviously, he does all those dash motion stuff. Like he's running around a lot out there. If he can't do that or is limited in some way, that could change the offense a little bit.
I mean, he got the very first play of the game.
Yeah, he caught the pass. That's right. That's how you could tell that it was going to be a little different game plan than normal, because Kyle only brings out the passes down the field to Juice when he feels like he really needs to sort of manufacture some yardage out there.
Well, and like literally every single play, both runs and passes were moving away. Like every single time they hiked the ball, it was Purdy sprinting 3 yards to the right, whether he was setting up to pass or then the handoff to the where it's an outside run. Like they were doing everything they could to eliminate Myles Garrett from that first drive. I think that's the goal was we don't want Myles Garrett to come out and on the very first drive completely decimate the drive and allow this team to gain confidence and the crowd to get in it. Like they wanted to avoid the big negative on the first drive, and even if that meant rolling away and eventually punting, they didn't want the big negative. They didn't want Myles Garrett setting the tone.
Yes, and he had 1 sack in the game, which came at a good time. I believe it was a 3rd down, but then the Browns immediately fumbled the following punt, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, that was a good job. He was a clear focus. Like they were so focused on 95. It sounds crazy to say, but 1 sack, like you had a good day against Myles Garrett. They did a good job against him. Alex Bach, YouTube channel member, says Use is injured. Do we have a problem now? With a little winky face. Look, I don't want Kyle Juszczyk hurt. I'm just not one of the people that thinks this offense would be inoperable without him, so I hope he's back. But I don't think it's going to be a massive loss if he has to miss time.
Juice being hurt, the offense is better with him, but it doesn't change the offense when he's out. Like it nothing changes.
I agree. Tyler Silvas says, we're going to get a return. Special teams for the first time in at least 10 years. They won us a game instead of lose it. I feel like they're eventually going to get one for a touchdown this year. Maybe it'll be in a playoff game, Levin. I don't know, but like they have been so close. Sky Moore a couple of times. Like today, obviously on the punt return, and he had one earlier, the kickoff. He's just this close. He's going to eventually get there.
Maybe. I mean, it is what he doesn't have like that burner speed where once he's in the open field, he's gone. Like the punt return, I would say half the returners in the league score a touchdown once at the end there because they can just go and break it wide open and go to the sideline and outrun the punter. But the punter was able to get a hand on him and slow him down just enough. Sky Moore, I think, is somebody that he excels by not making mistakes and being able to recognize where the blocking is and follow them. He is not a crazy burner or make you miss type of returner, which isn't like a huge knock. I will gladly accept. I have said for years, all I want is a returner who doesn't make mistakes. I don't care if they make plays on top of it. Just don't make mistakes.
You don't have, I don't know if you have to be a burner as much as you used to have to be a burner because of the new, I think it's much more about reading your blocks, more like a running play. Oscar Alfaro says CMC could be the only player to catch and run for 1,100 yards. I mean, the crazy thing today with McCaffrey, 20 carries for 53 yards and only 4 catches for 21 yards. I think it's only the second time all year he's been held under 100 yards from scrimmage. Like just the way the game sort of played out. Now, part of that was because the defense and the special teams kept giving them good field position. So there literally weren't as many yards for the offense to have to gain. But, you know, if you told me that Christian McCaffrey was going to have those stats and the 49ers were going to win by 3 scores, I would have been pretty surprised.
I think a lot of his limit was the Cleveland defense was just better. Like the wide receivers could not get open. And Christian McCaffrey, they clearly keyed on him. They were playing man coverage on the wide receivers and winning, and they keyed on Christian McCaffrey. There was a DB or a linebacker or both going for Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. Now, ironically, it might have been his longest reception was on a 3rd down where he went completely uncovered coming out of the backfield down there. That was in the red zone where they were able to get like 8-9 yards on a 3rd down. So it's kind of ironic that one of the biggest plays of the game was him going uncovered. But Cleveland's defense, like that's the one negative I would say in this game. The wide receivers could not beat press coverage.
Why are you going to be a wet blanket?
I said that's the one negative. We are 34 minutes into this game. The one negative was wide receivers couldn't beat press coverage.
JG Limo says Purdy's mobility was evident in this game. I agree. Thank you, JG Limo, for being a channel member for 18 months. NTD Nick, YouTube channel member for 23 months. Thank you so much. Nick says, how about Keon White and Cleveland Farrell? 2 deadline acquisitions. I know it wasn't deadline day and everyone was mad at the 49ers for not making a deadline trade, but they were mid-season acquisitions and both were huge today, especially Keon White at one point made a big run stuff that forced the Browns to have to throw. Like some of the tackling today was rough by the 49ers. And maybe some of that is because they're freaking tired from having to play 14 straight weeks. But when the Browns couldn't run the ball, they could not move the offense. It was inoperable when they couldn't run the ball. The only touchdown drive they had, they literally ran it every play down the field, and then Shedeur hit the one pass to Fannin for the touchdown. Other than that, when they didn't run the ball, they were no threat at all.
I guess. I mean, they had some pass plays, but
what pass plays?
They had almost 200 yards passing in this game.
The longest pass play of the day was 34 yards on the touchdown. Other than that, it was 18 yards to Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, it's not exactly uncommon. But
they sucked passing the ball.
I wouldn't say they sucked. I think they weren't given that much opportunity, but I wouldn't say they sucked. They found success in the times that they did try. But I think that this was a game that Cleveland couldn't be consistent. Yeah, they might have a 20-yard pass, but then it was 3 and out from there. You know what I mean? They might have a first down running, but then it was 3 and out from there. It was like they would get a first down or two almost every drive and then stall out. Like, I don't know exactly how many 3 and outs they had, but I don't remember very many 3 and outs for them. They were constantly getting to around midfield and then stalling out. So I think from Cleveland, that there's some positive there. Now, it is a team that's very bleak on offense and has been for a couple of years now, but there is positive to this game for Cleveland.
I completely disagree. I think their passing offense was a joke. I think it was all screen passes other than the one touchdown pass. Now you could say they didn't have the opportunity, and I agree. Like they looked scared to me to throw the ball down the field, but I was much less impressed with it than you were. Sograz says Njoku over 1.5 receptions, baby. Thank you. I had that prediction on Friday before the game. He only had 2.
You got one right.
Guess what, baby? It still counts. It still counts for me. One of the many picks that I had corrected. Actually, I don't know. I haven't even looked at how many we had, but that was one of our predictions on Friday. My prediction, to be sure. I want to take all the credit in the world for that. And you better believe I was sweating it out too at the end of the game. I was like, please just dump it off to this guy. So I just, because
they both came late, right?
Well, I think one was early. I think one was like in the first quarter. And so like the whole rest of the game, I am sitting there like, please just dump it off to this guy so I can, look like I actually know what I'm talking about, because we had a brutal week last week. If you watch on Fridays or any day, we make our picks with Sleeper. We recommend you do the same thing. They have the best app in the business. Go and check it out, download it. And if you sign up for Sleeper, not even deposit money, just sign up, you get a free $20 entry so you can have some fun. If you do want to deposit, then please use our code GSP. Get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. And all you got to do is pick higher or lower on a bunch of different stats, touchdowns, interceptions, all that stuff. And you could win up to 1,000 times your money. You can't beat that. Please go and check it out. Again, use our code GSP. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. I'm trying to check and see the picks real quick. Oh, McCaffrey had 4 catches in the game. I took more than 4.5 catches, so didn't get that one right. I got the Njoku right. Shedeur Sanders, at least 1 pick. I was wrong. He had 1 pass that fluttered up there forever and just fell into the hands of a Browns player. I had Purdy less than 204.5 passing yards. Cha-ching. Thank you very much. Judkins, Michelle had Judkins more than 18.5 rushing attempts. I got to believe he hit the over.
He had 23, I think.
Yeah. He was at 14 at halftime, I think. So they were just pounding the ball with him. That was a good pick. She had Purdy at least 1 interception. Here's the thing. Brock only had 1 risky throw by my count the entire game. And it came on the last possession where they kicked a field goal on 3rd down. He was rolling out. He was like, I could throw it away or I could try to thread this in the corner of the end zone. And he didn't throw it away. He threw it and it was broken up by a Browns player. Could have been picked, but wasn't. But that was the only one.
I mean, was it risky because he could have been more inaccurate with it? and then it's intercepted. Yeah, but where it ended up being thrown, the only person who had a chance at catching it was, I think it was Pearsall that was diving for it. It was going to be one of those, as he's falling down out of bounds in the corner of the end zone, he may have been able to catch it. The only person that had a chance of actually catching it was Pearsall. A DB ended up getting a fingertip on it from underneath, but they didn't have a chance of catching it. They were just barely able to deflect it.
How about this, by the way? 4King Crazy, YouTube channel member for 25 months. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Says that Kittle catch on third down was fantastic. George Kittle was a monster today. 4 catches, 67 yards. I felt like every single one of his catches was huge. He gets the catch before halftime when they're trying to, add some points late. He's falling down, one arm, makes the catch, stays inbound, or, catches the ball inbounds against the sideline there. I keep saying it over and over again. Blocking is the second best thing George Kittle does.
Ironically, it's the blocking, how Myles Garrett got his first sack. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, the sack for Myles Garrett was they planned to chip him with George Kittle, and he went right at George Kittle, and right before he got to him, he deked and went inside, and George Kittle was like, I guess I'll go run my route. And Trent Williams was not able to catch back up to Myles Garrett. So Myles Garrett learned a lesson. Don't let George Kittle chip me because I won't be able to do anything.
I saw that because, here's how it went for me. I don't know how it was watching for you. Every pass play, I was like, where's 95 and what are they doing? Are they chipping? Are they double teaming? Is he one-on-one? So, and I was watching that play and you could see Kittle come over. I was like, all right, we got Kittle on that side. We'll be okay. And then, whoom, like a blink of an eye, Myles Garrett is past Kittle, past Trent, and sacking Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Myles Garrett is one of the best pass rushers of all time and definitely the best of this era. There was a debate there for a little while between Bosa and TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. I don't think there's a debate. He's the best of this generation.
It's insane how good he is and how, first of all, if you just ever see him with his shirt off, he's a mutant. And I say that respectfully.
Yes. He is as much of a physical freak as LeBron is to the NBA. LeBron is 6'8" and capable of playing center because he's got so much strength and muscle. But at the same time, he can be a point guard. He can play all 5 positions. Myles Garrett is the biggest guy on the field, the most muscular and strongest guy on the field, and one of the fastest guys on the field.
He's unbelievable. And Sograz, this comment is true. There was a play where Brock rolled out and Myles Garrett got right in his face, right away. And somehow Brock threw it away. And they zoomed in on Myles Garrett. And he's just laughing because he's amazed that Brock was able to get the ball out of his hand. But usually I say this when guys have interceptions, but I'll say it today too because it still applies. Sometimes being quarterback is all about the worst thing that you do. And the worst thing Brock Purdy did today was throw the ball away. And it was a huge reason that the offense was able to stay functional. And there were a couple of third downs too I want to give Brock credit for, where it was 3rd and 11 or 3rd and long, and he found completions for first downs to keep the chains moving. He was the definition of just do enough today. Don't screw it up. Don't be negative. And just do enough. And he absolutely did, to his credit.
And it wasn't just, he escaped that sack and he ran away and was able to throw it away. There were plays that if you go back and watch where he, while staying within the pocket, took a half hitch up to allow the defender to go behind him and then had a completion after that. It wasn't just him running away. It was also his pocket awareness and movement within the pocket. This is the Brock of potential that we saw in 2023, where he has escapability, but he also has awareness within the pocket, and he's not making mistakes.
And the drive before halftime, I thought, was really important too, because the 49ers are up 7-0 in the game. Then Cleveland comes back. They get the touchdown. Niners get the penalty, the too many men on the field for the PAT, one of the bad special teams plays. Cleveland gets the 2-point conversion, although I was surprised because it looked really close on that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, he got across.
They gave it to him. And the Niners are losing. And you're like, are we going to go into halftime losing against the Browns? And instead, Brock goes right down the field. He gets completions to Pearsall for 13, Jennings for 12. He hits Kittle for 33, and they ultimately get the field goal. And I saw a good tweet from Josh Dubow. Josh always has good tweets, especially during the game. The 49ers have had 7 drives start with between 30 seconds and 2 minutes left in the first half this season. They have a field goal on 3, a touchdown on 2, 1 punt, and 1 lost fumble on those 7 drives. So 5 out of those 7 drives, they got points. And Mac was really good at it, and Brock's been good at it too. And I thought getting that field goal at the end was important, Levin.
Yeah, the field goal was huge. I texted you that when they got it. Like going into halftime up, even when you allowed a late touchdown and you weren't playing all that well yet, that's a big confidence boost. But yeah, those 7 drives, put it this way, they're averaging more than 3 points on those drives.
Right.
So better than a field goal on those drives. Like scoring right before halftime is as big of a momentum swing as you can get. It's almost like getting a turnover for points. You're stealing points right before halftime.
Did you see during the game, they made a point to show Brock in the elbow brace on the sideline?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's been wearing that since he came back from the elbow injury. Like, to me, it was like, that's not a surprise. They seem to make a big deal out of it. Apparently, they asked Brock about it after the game. He said he's been wearing it since throughout his career in late season games. It's literally just an arm heater thing, he said. They talked about, wanting to keep the elbow warm. I wonder if maybe, especially as it gets colder, for some reason, it could tighten up on him. I mean, anyone that's had a surgery knows when it gets cold, right? Sometimes you feel it in that body part. I guess that's where Brock is.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tendon that he hurt. So if it's stretched out and it's warm and then suddenly it gets cold because you sat, it's going to constrict up, and it's not going to be wanting to stretch as easily because it just constricted up and got cold. It's essentially like you need to warm up again in that case. That's why you have warm-ups. You have warm-ups not so much for your muscles, you have warm-ups for your tendons and things like that, because it gets the elasticity, I guess would be the word I'm looking for. It gets the elasticity where it needs to be so that you're less likely to hurt it. So keeping the heater on it keeps it warm, keeps it from constricting up and losing the, like I'm going to say it again, elasticity.
You're proud of yourself for that word? I can tell. Yeah, it's just easier to keep it warm than to have it cool down and try to rewarm it up every time. Ouch, my hamstring. YouTube channel member, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, first half tackling was misery to watch, number 1. Number 2, can we come at Stafford with the same energy we came at Purdy last week? 2 interceptions in 3 attempts, and 1 was a pick 6 against the same defense. He also had a fumble late in the game. Look, I don't want to there's a difference between Matt Stafford and Brock Purdy, most notably the Super Bowl trophy that Matt Stafford has that Brock Purdy doesn't. But it's also okay to say, bad game from Stafford today. Absolutely.
Yeah. Stafford deserves criticism. I don't think you come for him in the same way because the surrounding games is not the same. It's not, this guy had a bad year last year that got hurt this year, and now he had a bad game after return. No, it's the guy who's running away with the freaking MVP had a bad game. It's a bad game. He lost that game for them. But he's also probably still leading the MVP right now.
2 touchdowns, 2 picks for Stafford, also had the fumble. Yeah, no one is ever immune to criticism. You should always be able to criticize somebody for a bad game, but you also have to take in the broader context, which I think you correctly laid out there. Gabe Garoni says 6 weeks ago, just making the playoffs seemed unlikely. Now we could compete for the number 1 seed, and Kyle still won't win Coach of the Year. I mean, the man is doing his best work. It's unbelievable. Everybody's going down on the defense. Mac Jones had to come in, and they kept the ship afloat. Now they win these 3 games. They've got 9 wins. The division is in play. The number 1 seed, as you said, is in play. Kyle won't win it, but he damn well should this year.
Right now, Ben Johnson is the leader because they're the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
it's a super easy, brand new coach, and they went from not making the playoffs to the number 1 seed. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's Ben Johnson right now. No, I don't think the Bears will keep that number 1 seed. I think the Bears will probably end up being a wild card. I think Green Bay at worst splits with them, and then I think the Bears end up probably losing 2 other games. I think the Bears probably lose 3 of their last 5.
Hopefully. I mean, I hope it was all 5, actually. But apparently, Brock Purdy, I didn't notice this. He did the Dougie after he scored the rushing touchdown,
Yeah.
and people were like, Kittle was like, his mind was blown. He had told the team apparently that he was going to do it, and so he did it. I thought it was interesting before the game. It came out that Brock told his teammates he was going to make up for the 3 interceptions last week. And I heard that, Levin, and I got to be honest with you, I was nervous.
Scared.
I was puckering, like, because I thought that was going to lead to more Superman throws. And the fact that he had that mentality and still played the way he did today, the smart way he played, credit to you, Brock. No notes, man.
Yeah, it was a good game. He played the game he needed to play. This was not a game that Hero Ball was going to win it. The weather, the wind, like I said earlier in the show, their reported wind was 27 to 51 miles per hour. Not, there's wind gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. No, that means that it's at least 27 miles per hour and gets up to 51 miles per hour. That means the sustained wind was insane. And you heard it every time the ref had to announce a penalty.
Yes.
You could hear the wind hitting his mic. So, yeah, it was crazy windy. You saw some throws. Like the wind definitely helped the 49ers because, like I said, there was the Shedeur Sanders long throw that just got held up and still almost got completed, but Mustafa was able to get there. That's probably a long touchdown if it wasn't for that because Mustafa was beat. But this was a game that your quarterback's not going to be able to go out and get 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's a game where your quarterback has to go out, complete some passes to get first downs, and not turn the ball over.
I agree. And he did a perfect job of it today. Credit to you, Brock Purdy. Dallas SC 4388. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, honestly, if they don't turn the ball over, there's no one in the NFC that scares me. You know what? That's an interesting thought. What do you think about that? Would you agree?
Scares me. I mean, I'm not, there's no team in the NFC that scares me in any matchup other than maybe the Rams. Because I think the Rams are the one team that I would say the Niners can do everything right and they could still lose. I think the other teams aren't quite as talented as the Rams. Excuse me. But the Rams they're better than the 49ers at what the 49ers want to do. And there's no coincidence with that. They have 2 coaches who want to do the same exact thing. They want to win the same exact way. The Rams, just due to who the Niners have lost for the season, have more talent. They have the better wide receivers. They have the better quarterback. I would say they have the better offensive line. The only thing that the Niners win on offense against the Rams is running back position. On defense, they have the much better defensive line.
Yes.
They have the better linebackers. And the secondaries, I would say, are probably pretty equal, but maybe a slight advantage to the Rams. Like the Rams beat the Niners at everything other than probably special teams, put it that way. So the Rams, can the 49ers beat them? Obviously, yeah, they beat them once already this year. But that is a game where you go in and it's the Rams have to do something to lose that game.
And yet the 49ers have beaten them this year with nobody. Nobody played in that game except for CMC. It's a crazy, crazy league. But that's why I kept telling everybody, get to the playoffs and we'll see what happens. Who knows what happens? Because if this year has proven anything, it's that. Patrick Mahomes right now, out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson right now, out of the playoffs, I believe. Joe Burrow right now, out of the playoffs. Those are 3 guys everybody said they can carry a team by themselves, right? They're the guys that can play in any system, and all 3 may miss the playoffs right now. It's a wide open year this year. Just get to the playoffs and anything can happen. Heineman on Twitch says Big Dom is the scariest dude in the NFC. Well done, Heineman. See, this is why we give the Twitch community so much respect, Levin. It's for comments like that.
Sure.
You've always respected Twitch.
I haven't given him crap in a long time.
That's
Maybe Maybe I'm getting tame in my old age.
You're getting soft a little bit. I agree with this. Charlene says this year has proven that coaching matters. Again, going back to Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, absolutely. Shanahan and Saleh. And I like the fact that Kyle has openly acknowledged. I mean, he has called Robert Saleh the biggest signing, the biggest move the 49ers have made this offseason. It's incredible where the Niners.
I would argue that there's two different narratives. In the NFC, I think the narrative is coaching matters. In the AFC, the narrative is talent matters. The quarterback is not enough by himself. Because right now, I know Josh Allen had a turnover early in the game, but I don't know the actual score of the Steelers game. But the Bills are the last seed in the AFC. If they lose that game, they're currently out of the playoffs. So you could literally have a year where Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow all miss playoffs. If you just take Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar Jackson, what is that, like the last 5 MVPs between them?
It might be. Damn. That's crazy. I didn't think of it like that. Twigster54 on Twitch says Steelers is still 0-0, which, I'm just double checking. Seattle and Minnesota also 0-0. Seattle has the ball 4th and goal on the Minnesota 15. We'll see what they do there. By the way, did you see Minnesota is starting a rookie quarterback now because McCarthy's hurt? Max Brosmer, I think is his name, or Brosmer. I apologize if I'm not saying it right.
Yeah, it's spelled kind of weird. I can't remember exactly how it goes.
It's another one of those, well, he really knows the system, and they really liked him, and he flew under the radar, and they started comparing him. Maybe he could be another Brock Purdy. It's like, all right, let's calm down before we start mentioning him in the same breath as Brock Purdy. Brisbee Life on Twitch says the top 3 AFC seed quarterbacks are May, Nix, and Lawrence right now. Lawrence? Jacksonville is that high? Really?
I think they just got to 9-4, maybe it's 8-5. They won easily today.
God, I can't believe that. Yeah, the AFC is a slop fest, man. Holy hell. Way down at the bottom is Tennessee, 1-11. Tennessee, who are next up on the 49ers schedule with a chance to get to 10 wins, 11. Can you believe it?
No. Honestly.
After all the crap that we have gone through, the pain, Bosa, done. Warner, done. Michael Williams, done. Kittle missing a chunk. Brock missing a chunk. Pearsall missing a chunk. All the pain that we have endured for the 49ers to have a chance to get their 10th win of the year in 2 weeks against the Tennessee Titans is a bleeping miracle.
I mean, to give it a single game analogy, this is the game where your team goes down like 17 points with 5 minutes to go and you head for the exit. By the time you get out of the stadium, you turn and you look and you go, wait, they're driving to try to tie the game. Let me back in. This is like I wrote the team off 4 or 5 games in. I was like, there's just too many injuries. There's no way this team is going to amount to anything. They might sneak into the playoffs because of the schedule, but I didn't think they had any chance. But now, like I said, I think 2 weeks ago now, the door, like, you can see like light amongst the cracks in the door, I would say, for Super Bowl chances. Like, there's a 0% chance. I don't think it's a great chance because getting through the playoff gauntlet with the lack of talent on defense and in good luck, it's going to have to take one of those Baltimore Ravens-esque playoff runs where the offense is just destroying people every single week, I think, to get through that gauntlet. But there's a 0% chance for that. I would have bet a lot of money that the Niners had 0% chance of being in the running for the division, being in the running for the number 1 seed, or being in the running for the Super Bowl. And I think all of those have chances now.
It's going to be like you get to the playoffs, everything is house money at this point. With the injuries, like, let's have some fun, man. It is going to be fun, and we will be here with you on the ride for sure, win, lose, or draw. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend. Again, if this is your first time checking us out, thank you so much. We're live after every single 49ers game. We're live after all breaking news. We're live every single weekday here on the Gold Standard 49ers Podcast Network. We have different hosts. We do different shows. We have a film breakdown show on Thursdays. That's YouTube exclusive. We do an NFC West show that highlights everything going on in the division. Please check us out. I promise you, you will like what you see. Speaking of what I see, apparently Trey Lance is in for the Chargers. Justin Herbert's going to the locker room. That's not good news for Chargers fans or my fantasy team, by the way, as I have Justin Herbert. I know nobody cares. But by the way, Levin's fantasy team eliminated from playoff contention by my son last week. How about that?
Yeah, not good a year for fantasy for me.
Not a good year, but fortunately a good year for the 49ers. We will be here riding it out with you. Thank you, everybody. Like this video again, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.